In one step, I was airborne, spinning as the horizon turned upside down. I hit the ground again and again and again. I felt my bones breaking, my skin ripping. I told myself to breathe, stay calm. It would all be over soon. Before this moment, I had never broken a bone, and all it took was one step. Have you ever found something that's made you feel complete? It's a wonderful high, leaving you feeling strong, capable of anything, alive, whole. Well, in kindergarten, I had found it, bugs. On career day, I meticulously created my dream profession, covering a white lab coat in all the bug stickers I could fit on it. I took my neon orange bug net and my most prized possession, my bug collection. On career day, I marched into my kindergarten class and said, I'm gonna get my PhD and be an entomologist. That's someone who studies bugs. And although I'm not an entomologist today, I did find something that makes me feel complete: trail running. And just like my childhood self, when I find something I love, I fully commit. The feeling of running is limitless. No matter my mood or the stress of my day, it soothes me. Getting lost in the sights, sounds, and smells of nature is magical. It makes sense. I feel like the best version of myself. I feel like I was made to do this. I knew trail running had come into my life for a reason, so I decided to find out what that reason was. And then I found skyrunning. Skyrunning is intense. These courses are incredibly steep, rugged, and technical. A typical race climbs about 14,000 feet up the most direct line of a mountain. And then they spit you down gullies and ravines. The term trail is used rather loosely in skyrunning. But man, is it fun. These courses were exactly my style. And by my second year of racing, I'd racked up wins, course records. I'd even won the US Skyrunning Series. I was dubbed the Hilly Goat. And I even signed with the North Face. I had found my reason. I was gonna be a professional athlete. I traveled the world racing, and by my 4th season, I was ranked #1 in the world. But that's when my whole world changed, with just one step. The final race of my season that year brought me to Tromsø, Norway. The course was phenomenal, tracing a series of ridgelines, spinning runners up, down, and around this technical, wet, loose terrain. It was a true mountain race, exactly the Hilly Goat style. As the course grew steeper and more technical, I felt my strength grow. I was moving faster. On the final summit, on this ridgeline, I was in my element. I was scrambling. But suddenly, in one step, I was airborne. The horizon was spinning around me. I hit the ground again and again and again. I knew my bones were breaking. I even heard my own voice say, Hillary, this is it. You're dying. As I continued to impact the side of the mountain, I told myself it would all be over soon. When I came to in the hospital bed, I learned I had fallen 150 feet off of a ridgeline during the race. I had broken 14 bones. I was shocked, in utter disbelief of my survival. I wasn't paralyzed, I didn't have a traumatic brain injury, yet I was devastated by my complete inability to move. With one step, I had lost my world title, I'd nearly lost my life, and I was told I would never run again. My world was turned inside out. Over the next few months, I spiraled into a deep depression and lack of self-worth. Running had made me feel whole. It had given me purpose for each day. With it, I felt like the best version of myself. And in one step, it was ripped away from me, and I didn't know who I was without it. There were days, even weeks at a time, where I lacked the ability to get out of bed. I lacked the strength. I would lie there devastated, overwhelmed in the pain with my recovery. I didn't know if I could do it. I was drained of desire to live. I wish the accident would have killed me. It felt easier than to have to deal with the challenges of everyday life. I didn't know if I had enough to do this. Who was I now? Well, before the accident, emotions puzzled me. I'm a scientist. I like black and white, right or wrong scenarios. And emotions aren't like that. They're messy. But after the accident, I was covered in illogical, raw, confusing emotions. And I couldn't deal with them in the only way I knew how, which was through running. I had to sit with them. I had to sit in sadness and grief and despair and learn to accept myself in those dark moments and to find a way through. I had to sit in the fear that my career as a professional athlete was now over. I had to sit and ask myself, who am I now without the one thing that makes me feel complete? And to my surprise, I found immense value in the imperfections of the unknown. Leaning into those confusing and messy emotions allowed me the chance to uncover my strength, a persistence to battle and fight, not for anyone else or anything other than myself. I didn't have to be afraid of the unknown or fear what my life would look like without running, because through confronting those struggles, I gained new depth and a new perspective, and I had the opportunity to become better. I started to believe I was enough. Sitting with the fear that I would never do what I loved again allowed me the chance to uncover my courage, to uncover an unyielding, deep-seated belief that if I could do this, if I could get through this moment, this hour, or this day, that I could do anything, because it all added up to progress, and it all contributed to something bigger. I learned that strength is not about a certain shape or size or number. It's a choice, and it's a feeling, one that comes from deep within when you're tested and nearly at your breaking point. I learned that it's okay to feel sad and angry, to feel less than, to feel all of those crazy emotions, because in doing so, I learned I had what it took to show up for myself. Those lows became a gift, and I needed them in order to rise. I learned that the human spirit is stronger than I ever thought possible, and that when tested, it can come back from the most improbable and unimaginable setbacks. I did run again. In fact, 10 months after those doctors said I'd never run another step, I was on the start line of a 50-kilometer sky race in Italy, and I won it. And I wasn't done. A few months later, I was on the start line of a 50-mile sky race. And I won that one too. But honestly, winning was never my goal, and it wasn't the best part. But let's be clear, proving those doctors wrong was really sweet. But it wasn't the best part for me. The best part was learning what I was capable of, learning what the human spirit is capable of when it's broken and in pieces on the floor. That one step that nearly took my life and stole the one thing that made me feel complete allowed me the chance to confront my fears and confront my insecurities. And through confronting fear, I found courage. And those insecurities bred confidence. I got to re-examine why I love to run. Not for a time or for a competition, but for how it made me feel and how it made me a better person. And I had the chance to fall in love with it once again. I couldn't give up on myself. That one misstep and each difficult day thereafter showed me that I had what it took to keep fighting for what I believed I could do. That I had the ability to challenge the impossible. As Joseph Campbell says, no matter your fate, no matter what life brings you, you say, this is what I need. It might look like a wreck, but go at it as though it were an opportunity, a challenge. Every disaster you can survive is an improvement in your character, your stature, and your life. The crisis throws you back, and when you're required to exhibit strength, it comes. I took that lesson with me, never taking a step or misstep for granted, and constantly looking for the silver linings and the opportunity to learn in a challenging situation. I'd gain new depth, perspective in my running and in my life. But things aren't always so straightforward. In fact, 2 months ago, a routine run and a slip on the ice resulted in me breaking my ankle. Another surgery, another forced recovery, another absence from my love of running. I was devastated. I had just learned to run again, and I had just started living life with new purpose and direction. I felt like everything that I'd learned, everything that had shaped me from the accident was now being tested. I started to spiral. But then I had a thought, and I remembered the opportunity. After all, I believe everything happens for a reason if you choose to let it. Because we're never really done. We're never done learning or overcoming. Just when we think we know where life is taking us, one step can change our trajectory. But isn't that the point? Isn't there beauty in it? With each step and misstep, we choose to keep going, to rebuild, redefine, and become stronger. Things can happen for a reason. Will you let them?